related है.
बच्चे आत्मा का अंश होते हैं. आप ये मान लीजिए कि परमात्मा को मैं कभी कभी मानता हूँ कि शायद सेकंड नंबर पे रखते हैं और माता पिता को पहले नंबर पे रखते हैं, क्योंकि ये तो जीते जागते हैं. हम सूर्य और चंद्रमा की तो पूजा करते थे जो साक्षात हैं, और दुनिया में मारे फिर रहे हैं. अरे कुछ नहीं है, सूर्य को जाके 5 मिनट के लिए आप ईश्वर मुद्रा में प्रणाम कर दो तो उसका आशीर्वाद मिलने लगेगा, आपकी आत्मबल बढ़ने लगेगा, आपका डिप्रेशन दूर हो जाएगा. क्या है ये डिप्रेशन, ये वो दुनिया के इलाज चल रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं होने वाला. तो खुद को कर बुलंद इतना, हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है, वो चीज है.
This was today's powerful message from the one who led the foundation of Amritam with his hard work and in-depth knowledge of Ayurveda, our very own Ashok uncle. And you know what? His presence on this season's very first episode makes this season even more special. Welcome to Season 2 of Rediscovering Self with Amritam. Amritam is an Ayurvedic lifestyle brand and wellness community growing globally, celebrating nature, beauty, and mindful living. This is your host, Shweta Dalmia, and on this season, we together take the journey of building a healthier, happier, and fuller life through the power of incredibly powerful Ayurveda. Yes, it's about our health, our happiness, and that too at our own place, our very own Amritam, your Amritam. Let's get started! Welcome Dr. Varalakshmi on Rediscovering Self with Amritam. Today we will be talking about, why do I feel bloated and what should I do? Karu to karu kya? So, today we'll be talking about how can I be relieved, how can we be relieved actually and healed. So, welcome Dr. Varalakshmi.
Thank you so much for Shweta for having me today, and I'm really excited to chat about bloating, and it is like one of the most common things that we face in the modern day, right? So every time you eat out or any time, I get always asked, okay, how do you manage by going out and eating and still not getting bloated? This is like one of the most common question I get asked, and yes, I'm so looking forward to talking about it. Yeah, let's get into the topic, yeah.
Yay. So, doctor, before we actually get into it, why do I feel bloated and what are the ways we can actually, be relieved, I want to ask you something, and please do correct me if I'm wrong. So I read somewhere that, a good gut health is related to a healthy aging or how long we live, the quality of life we basically have. So I want to know from you, a lot of times, we often ignore, okay, I'm feeling bloated, but we sometimes not address the situation. We sometimes do not think that why am I feeling bloated, and we just not go into the integrities of it. So how important is it to address bloating, and if there is a linkage between addressing why you feel bloated, your gut health, and in turn long healthy life? So is there a relationship that exists between all of them?
Absolutely. As you rightly put as well, some of these symptoms like, feeling constipated, feeling bloated, or on end of headaches, often we all get that when we are stressed or so when you eat outside. But in most parts, we are thinking, oh, this is just something I ate some heavy meal, I'll be fine tomorrow. But this bloating acts as a symptom weekly, twice or thrice, every time you eat out or so. If it keeps coming back, it is a clear sign that there is some form of an imbalance inside your body that you need to correct. That is the first thing. And often bloating is seen as a basic sign that you have food sensitivities. We will get into deeper into the topic, but food sensitivities are basically when your body develops this resistance towards certain types of foods. Commonly nowadays we are hearing a lot about gluten, which is eating chapatis or wheat like pasta, that kind of food. And the other thing we are hearing a lot about is the dairy. So like milk or any milk products, people are saying, oh, I can't digest the milk anymore. So these are some of the common foods that in my experience I see that people have sensitivity towards, and that is one of the key reason for having bloating. And coming to your second question, that how does a simple sign like bloating can affect you in the long term? Like how is it impairing your gut health? Because our gut is like the centerpiece of our health. So like Ayurveda says that everything starts with our Agni or having that good digestion. So if you have good Jatra Agni, it gives rise to this qualitative tissue system, the 7 dhatus inside the body. And they are how we are sustaining the life, okay? So if there is any imbalance to do with that Jataragni or digestion happening inside our body, then everything else will also like break. Like if the manager or this your CEO of a company is not functioning well, for example, it's a vague example, but still, he's the one who is giving orders or directions to everybody.
Yes.
Then once he's not working well or he's sick, then everyone will be like, what am I supposed to do now? I am so like confused. So gut is what makes sure that everything is like everybody is getting the nourishment, everyone is working well in the body. So one of the very important functional system. And as you might have heard and learned about, like up to 80% or 70 to 80% of the immunity inside our body comes from having a good gut health. Not only that, the skin health, like the aging or anti-aging, that the question you asked, why I'm explaining all this is the skin health, liver health, all these things have roots or connection to a good working microbiome or gut. So if there is impairment in your gut functioning, then that will also get impaired. So that is why I think even though bloating is that simple tiny symptom that we get every now and then, we do need to pay attention to these subtle symptoms. Our body is telling, dude, come on, pay attention. I keep telling you, you have bloating. Come on, do something about it. It's like asking for help. So yeah.
Very well put through, doctor. And चलो थोड़ा ध्यान रखते हैं microbiome का अपनी gut के, और let's just get into it. So tell me that what leads to bloating, like for example you mentioned food sensitivities, and what other factors actually lead to bloating?
So one of the very common thing that bloating that I see is that when you are not eating on time. So there is this very biggest myth. Even in my practice, I see this. If I ask someone, do you feel hungry? How many times do you feel hungry? People take it as like a bad thing. But for us Ayurvedic practitioners, having a good appetite or hunger is the key sign to say that your metabolism is working well, your gut is functioning well, okay? So what happens in modern day with doing this million things, like we are always juggling one or the other thing in life, and when we feel hungry, at times we don't find the time to eat, okay? If this is one-off thing, that's all right. If you are able to get back to that routine, that is okay, yeah? But if you are doing this like a pattern where you feel hungry, but you're busy with meeting, you're busy with some other work, and you ignore that hunger, that is one of the very common reason where your gut starts to act up, okay? So studies say that inside our gut, all this friendly bacteria that we are calling microbiome, they also follow what we call a clock. We call it biological clock. So this biological clock, basically what this bacteria are doing is, when you're eating on time and when you're sleeping on time, they're also functioning on time. They know that, oh, food is going to come now, I'm going to help them to digest it. So it is like we are all working in that symbiosis, right? At times when you start ignoring this hunger and your body is waiting and it releases those gastric juices, but there is nothing to actually digest it. So this is when over a period of time your stomach develops this sensitivity, your body develops sensitivity, and your microbiome gets confused because nothing is happening on time. When the digestive juice is released, there is no food to digest. But actually when the food is there, body doesn't know actually it has to digest the food. So it's that missed signals and you're messing up with that rhythm inside your body. So I would say ignoring the hunger, not eating on time, which is a natural time for your body. So right from the childhood, our parents are, giving us food at particular time, right? Like before 9 o'clock, we are eating breakfast. By 1 or so, we are eating lunch. But as we become adults, we are not following all these things, but our body still actually honors those timelines. So it's very important that you eat on time, Especially when you feel hungry, you need to give food to your body. It's a very natural phenomenon, right? We need to honor these natural urges that our body, and it's a sign that it needs nourishment, so we need to feed it. That is very common sign. And the other thing which I talked about, food sensitivities like dairy, milk, gluten, and another common thing I would say in modern day is the incompatible combinations. You might have heard about it, Shweta, like mixing things, like two different varieties of protein. For example, a very common thing like banana smoothies, which is very commonly given to kids, especially growing kids. It's easier to make. We have to agree that it's easier to make. But actually, studies show, and Ayurveda, thousands and thousands of years ago, said that if you mix foods with two different qualities or two different energies, they take different energies to get digested. Milk eaten separately is very healthy and all that, as per Ayurveda. Same thing, banana is also a nourishing food. But when you combine these two foods which have different qualities, it becomes this thick, heavy thing inside your stomach, which later is going to cause problems like ama, which is like undigested food material. So I think that is one thing. Incompatible foods, also called viruddha ahara in Ayurveda. These are some of the common things I see in my practice, which, general things. There are also more deeper problems that people have, which could lead to bloating as well.
The point that you mentioned about different food combinations. So, I remember actually from childhood. So, my grandma always, tells ki, okay, don't eat these two things together. It's gonna, mess up your stomach. And I remember we used to tell her that, yaar, shaadi mein jaate hain, tab bhi to like pura buffet saath hi hota hai. So, what is it gonna do? But, like just being conscious about those combinations, I feel is very important. Also, like, are there any combinations that you see people, making mistakes hugely? Like some of the common combinations that you feel should not be taken together and can lead to bloating?
Absolutely. So the milk and banana, generally Ayurveda says fruits are this one ingredient that we are supposed to eat alone. So fruits, when we are eating fruits, fruits get digested very quickly, okay? And when you combine fruit with any other food, for example, the milk, same milk, if we bring into the picture here as an example, milk is a heavy protein, right? Even if you drink, that's why when people feel hungry, we say that have a glass of milk before bed. Then it helps them to feel like, oh, something substantial is in my stomach and I can sleep well, right? So milk itself is a very heavy protein. And as I said, fruit takes very less time. So when you combine something which takes longer time to digest and something which digests very quickly, then they both are not going through the cycle of nutrition at the same time. So one is quickly getting absorbed, or the other one, by the time the milk gets digested, the fruit is sitting there and it becomes like turns sour, as per Ayurveda, in a logical explanation. So this is going to what causes that kind of problems, okay? Other common example I would say is thinking in modern day, I think the pizza where we mix tomato and cheese. I think by the end of this show people will be like
But really, is it true?
So like tomato plus cheese. So it's the same fact that tomatoes are like nightshade. So and cheese. So cheese is heavy, right? So it's in a way tomato is also a fruit. It's not exactly a vegetable, to be honest. But anyways, nightshades are one set of vegetables which are considered again a little bit like inflammatory and also difficult on our body or on our digestion. So that's why when you combine tomato plus cheese, it becomes a difficult combination again.
But this is surprising, This is like genuinely surprising. I didn't know that, tomato and cheese, the combination is not really, because when we think about pizza, like the combination stays there, tomato and cheese is something which goes everywhere, like literally.
Basically the idea is that food, according to Ayurveda, if I explain it that way, maybe it's easier. Food has to be simple. So food has to should not contain million ingredients, or sources of food should have at least one protein. If you are mixing, so two
Okay.
proteins of different sources doesn't go well together, like the wheat, which is a sticky, heavy thing when you're making pizza. It's not just tomato plus cheese, but if we take the wheat itself as well, it is a glutinous product which is heavy as per Ayurveda, which is sticky and heavy. It is nourishing, but it is still takes more time than when you eat rice. Okay, so it's a heavy grain. So this combination of wheat and cheese is heavy, right? When you eat cheese or pizza, we feel like, oh, I want to lie down somewhere. I don't want to move
Yes.
anymore. It's a natural
We do.
phenomenon. Yeah, so when you are mixing this too many heavy things, when the food is too heavy, it puts pressure on our digestion. And I'm telling you, 90% of the time, people who eat pizza at night time, even at one point you might have experienced, if you're eating pizza after 7, you feel very uncomfortable at night time, especially if you're eating more than 3 to 4 slices, means heavy. So the more you eat pizza, the more we feel heavy, the more we feel like our stomach is big, like I don't want to move anymore kind of feeling, right? So that heaviness is what Ayurveda always talks about when we are eating food. So your food should be simple, means should not contain too many ingredients, and then it should be lighter to digest. Anytime you eat food which is very heavy, then that is when you have digestive problems like bloating, constipation, headaches, not feeling like energetic the next day morning. I have clients, like when they eat pizza, they say,
Yes.
I feel very heavy next day. I don't want to work on anything. All I want to do is like go back to bed again. So that feeling is what considered as heavier on our stomach. So it has to be simpler and lighter food so that it doesn't put too much pressure on your digestive system and you can quickly digest it. As simple as that.
So, like before we actually move into the kind of, the habits we can incorporate or how could I feel more relieved when I'm constipated, I want to know that, because if we consider a scenario where, say, someone cannot ignore heavy foods or say food like pizza, so how can someone incorporate, say, heavier foods into their diet and still not feel bloated?
So when they were talking about Viruddhaharas or incompatible diets, for example, in the classical texts like Charaka Samhita, they say that there is not much that you can do. If you continue to eat these incompatible foods, you will cause problems to your digestive system. But at later point in Samhitas like Ashtanga Hrudaya, which are a little bit modern compared to Charaka Samhita also, they do discuss that. Bhagavata says that like if someone is healthy and someone is young, means like in their prime age and they are doing exercise every day and moving about, means doesn't have a sedentary lifestyle. So if someone is like that, they can still actually eat some of these foods and get away with not getting any health imbalances. But we also have to consider that, like you see people in your life, right, who will eat all sorts of things but still doesn't seem to affect them in any way, right? So they have genetic component of this ability of their body to actually digest and sustain most sort of things. They have good Jataragni, like we call them Pitta Prakriti people who come with that fire element. So no matter what food they eat, the body can seem to easily digest it. So that is one thing. But generally heavy foods are recommended that we eat for a healthy person during the lunch time, not at dinner time. Say that you have to eat pizza or you don't have an option to cook fresh food also, then the ideal time to eat a heavy food like a pizza as per Ayurveda is in the afternoon, because the sun is heavy and after lunch also you will still be moving about. There is a chance that you can digest it, but when you eat it at dinner time, we are not moving so much after dinner, right? So there is less chance of you digesting it. That is one thing. Eating it during lunchtime is beneficial. And then having a tea, like say fennel tea, which is a very simple thing, but because of the digestive qualities of fennel, it can help us to digest the food. Or sipping warm water after you have pizza, know that, oh, I eaten something heavy. Then how you manage it? By keep sipping warm water, by moving about, like just going for a walk, which is also helpful. When we move, our metabolism increases, so you can digest it better. Or maybe
Yes.
fasting. So after that, if you fast, then you give a break for your digestive system, and it can just focus on digesting that heavy food. So these are some of the things that we can do when we end up eating that heavy or incompatible food in
Yes.
emergency situations, or like modern life is full of them, right?
It is, definitely. So, what are, some of the solutions I would say that Ayurveda tells us to undertake? Say, for example, if I am feeling bloated or any other areas that we can work upon to be, more healthier and, for example, to maintain our gut health.
I will go through basic things, simple things that we all can do. One, I think I already talked about, like eating when you feel hungry and trying to stick to a routine in your day. Like, like if you're eating breakfast between 8 to 9 every day, it is important that you honor that. Because like I said, our microbiome, gut bacteria also connect with what we are doing externally. When you're giving food, it remembers that. So if you maintain a regular timeline, it is like you're giving signal to your body, oh, food is coming. So it is easier for our body to digest the food, and it improves our gut health in the long run and doesn't cause any problem. So eating on time and then sticking to a regular interval and honoring urges, like when you feel hungry, and also when you feel like going toilet, like having a good bowel movement is very important. So I also see this pattern where when we feel like we are again busy, or when we don't have time, we are trying to hold that. Ayurveda says there are 13 natural urges, like that opening up our bowels, feeling hungry, all these are natural urges that our body, and we need to let them go. We should not hold them back. And especially hunger and bowel movement are two important things. If you hold them too much, like on a regular basis, they can lead to imbalances to do with our colon functioning, like ending up with constipation or bowel, not having a proper lazy bowel, we call it, like where people struggle to open their bowels in the long run. So these are all complications that we can cause ourselves if we hold our natural urges. So I would say that is very important, not to withhold them for a very long time. It's not good for our health. And the other thing is, I think warm water. Warm water is like this natural nectar that all of us can do, because as per Ayurveda, cold water also takes time to digest. Anything that is cold is heavier on our body, and it blocks the channels or shrutasas inside our body. So when we drink warm water, it goes very smoothly. It reaches all those minute channels and hydrates or nourishes our body properly. So I would say drinking or sipping warm water throughout the day is another thing. Exercising in the morning, especially simple exercises like sun salutations. When you have low Jataragni or low digestive fire, sun salutations help us to improve fire element in the body. The way we are doing, it opens up our abdominal muscles. We are actually strengthening our abdominal muscles and opening up all those, increasing the ability of our core as well. So, which is the main one where the colon and everything is located, right? So, sun salutations in the morning, or maybe a simple walk, exercise in the morning is another thing I would highly recommend for someone who want to improve their digestion. Last but not least, sleep and early dinner, which is also important, but leaving a gap between your dinner and sleep. Why Ayurveda is keen on telling people to eat early is we should not be sleeping with food inside our stomach. Studies, even modern studies, say that when we are sleeping with heavy stomach, it can mess up with our natural body cycle of cellular repair, anti-aging, and all those things we are talking about, because your body works on all those functions once the stomach is empty. It's a very basic fact that when you have food inside your stomach, your body's primary function is to digest that food. So until it digests the food, it won't go to any other functions like immunity, cellular repair, protein building. So that's why if you eat early and leave a gap, it gives that enough time for your stomach to digest it and then focus on this anti-aging and all those other necessary important functions. I think so. These are some of the very important simple things, yeah, which don't cost us anything, but we can start doing. Even if we start doing one thing, it is going to make huge difference in our overall gut health.
And the differences will take time to show, right? Like, it's not like, if, for example, if I start say today and I expect tomorrow that, okay, now I have everything amazing. So it will take time and patience, right? All these things that we start to incorporate.
Not necessarily. It depends upon, for example, things like, energy levels, especially to do with sleep and all. If someone is not having consistent energy levels, it is one of the key signs to say that something is not right, and especially to do with your nutrition cycle, like gut and digestion and everything. So if once you start sleeping on time, within a week or so, you will start to feel much better with your energy levels, like the gap you give between your dinner and sleep. I have seen this happen personally to me, but also to many of my clients who struggle mainly, like, who are working hard and often don't sleep till 12 o'clock. Once they start doing it, within 1 week, their energy levels like increase a lot, because it's just a very simple biomechanism and we are resetting that biological clock, okay? But on the other hand, if people have deep-seated illnesses, let's say like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, means already the body is going through inflammation for a very long time, and the disease pathology is changed inside the body. It started to affect different systems and all. So for them, these simple things alone, doing this alone, can take them, for them to see significant change, it can take time, yeah. So it depends on the person and what disease and problems personally they have, but generally if they incorporate, it is very good, yeah.
Also, like, since you talked about, say, IBS, I want to know from you that how do, say, someone creates a difference that, okay, I have just got like normal constipation, or there is something wrong in my body happening and constipation is just a sign of that. So how do we differentiate between that?
So not everybody with irritable bowel syndrome has constipation as a symptom, okay? So what are the common symptoms? If I explain common symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, maybe it's easier. So very first and foremost symptom is to have bloating, irritable bowel syndrome. So bloating is the most common symptom that we see, okay? Constipation can be seen in some people. I also see diarrhea in some people, okay? The other key important sign is having stomach pain. So when they eat a particular type of food, they start to feel two things happen generally. Their stomach will start to swell up. Like, suddenly when you eat even a small bite of food can make them feel extremely uncomfortable in their stomach. And it starts to swell up, like bloated, and they can't finish what they are eating. This is one of the very key sign to say that there is deep-seated inflammation inside the gut and what they are eating is not agreeing with their body. Yeah, so this is one of the key important sign for irritable bowel syndrome.
So how will you differentiate between that, okay, I'm feeling bloated because of a deep-seated disease, or this bloating is just, a common thing and it's just happening right now?
So one thing is to pay attention to your body, and the other thing is for a person with irritable bowel syndrome, they can feel like this, like in a week, for example, half of the days, 3 to 4 days, no matter what they're eating, they feel like they have bloating. They will always be worrying about eating food, like, oh, will this suit me? Will I be feeling bloated? That constant sign for the person. They know that the body is not agreeing with many foods at this point. That is the important sign to say that it's not normal. Bloating for a person with healthy person who has a regular bowel movement, no stomach pain generally, but they have bloating. How it is, like they just go out and ate, let's say, very big marriage or something, they ate 10 items, they feel bloated. But the next day when they go back to their normality, they're fine, they can eat foods, they don't feel that, oh, I have a problem eating regular sandwich. But a person with IBS will struggle to eat a regular sandwich, which is a uncooked food, and they feel like, I can't eat this more than half, it will make me feel sick now. So that is how they differentiate. Did that makes clear?
Okay.
Yeah, yes. Also, say for example, now I am bloated. So what should I do now, like to feel relieved, to feel healed?
Okay, so sometimes instant things may not work, but sometimes they do work. Just we say that in people with conditions like IBS, they do need to work on the inflammation for them to feel better. But for a healthy person, there are things like sipping warm water often acts like a charm and helps them even with the pain. And also whenever they are eating, they should not rush. So one of the common practice that I see is when you're eating, either you're distracted, like talking and eating. So when we are talking and eating, you're swallowing a lot of air. So all that air goes where it goes. It goes into your stomach and it swells up. Another modern common practice is when you chew a gum, people keep chewing that mouth mints throughout the day.
Yeah.
People who do jobs where they need to face people and all, they also subconsciously, not knowing, they are also swallowing air. When you're chewing, every time you're opening your mouth, so you're swallowing air also, right? So they can also suffer with this problem because they are like taking so much air through mouth. So they need to look at that habit. If they are ending up with bloating, they need to reduce that, okay? And only have it one or so a day or something like that, okay? I think talking, mindful eating, when you're eating a meal, like, focusing on the food, looking at the food. And if you can eat with hands, this is one of the very good way to tell your body that, and you're connecting with the food, right? Nowadays we are using a lot of spoons and forks and stuff. For certain food, yes, we can't eat pasta with hand, it's difficult, but we can definitely eat rice with hands, right? So whenever you can, we need to use the tools that our body already has to, use them, to utilize them. It will also help. Going for a simple walk in the fresh air, because Ayurveda says that the bloating is a result of stuck vata inside our stomach. So when the vata is not flowing out of your body, which is especially apana vata, which moves downwards, apana means. So if it's stuck inside your stomach, that's when you're feeling bloated, along with other factors. But as simple as that, you need to let it go. So you need to make sure that it moves out of your body. So simply going for a slow walk in a fresh air, which helps you to relax your mind. So it also helps. And other thing, carom, ajwain, Ajwain is a very powerful and also a simple spice that we all have at home in the kitchen. If you are significantly experiencing bloating while you eat food and all, either if you're eating some food like rice, generally we say that mix the ajwain powder with some ghee and have it in first morsel of rice. But if you can't do that, then having a ajwain tea as part of your meal, but slowly sip it. Just sip one sip and then you can eat a little bit food. And again, when you feel thirsty, you sip a little bit. Not too much of liquid, but still that is considered as a necessary part to help you to digest it. I think last but not least, regularly applying oil on your belly, like warm oil, like sesame oil, can help to relieve that vata, to move downwards and, help with bloating.
No, that's pretty interesting, and especially what you talked about, like while we are eating, we tend to talk. And I didn't know that, like while we're eating, the air is going inside and that can also lead to bloating. So that's definitely like something really new that I haven't really heard of. And thank you for sharing all these little, things with us, because, as you mentioned, these are things which we can actually incorporate in our daily lives, just by being, more conscious, and we can, actually lead a healthier life, and our gut could be more healthy as well. So my last question to you would be, define, for me, that what is your relationship with Ayurveda, and why do millennials need to learn about it? Why do millennials need to learn about Ayurveda?
Oh wow. My the first question is my connection to Ayurveda, right? So like
Yes.
when I was, I think around 16, maybe even lesser than that, maybe around 13, 14 years, exact age I can't remember. I used to suffer a lot with all these problems like gut health problems, hormonal issues, to do with my period and stuff. I don't know about Ayurveda. I was not born into Ayurveda, to be honest, but my dad knew a very Ayurvedic practitioner who is old and has a very small practice. He used to charge 10 rupees in India, in Kakinada, which is a place where I'm from. So he took me one time to him, and I was like a very science girl. From the childhood, I did not believe in alternative medicine or anything. But my dad convinced me, saying, we tried everything modern and all. Let's try this. You will feel better. This doctor is very good and all. So I agreed to this, and we went there. And when I went there, he's like, the line is so huge that it is a very small, small house in India, the traditional quintessential houses in India, with a sunroof and everything. And the line is so far into the main road. All these mothers with small kids, babies are holding, and they're standing in an Indian summer waiting to see him. So I was like so curious to see, wow, someone is really, what he is doing should work for people to wait in line like that, right? So we went and he checked me. He gave me some churans and powders. Until that time, I never took any churan in my life. Even though I don't want to, was open and curious to see what is that. And he asked me questions about, are you eating pickles a lot? Are you not sleeping? Are you watching TV? So all these questions. Before, no one asked me these kind of questions, like specifically to do with food, what I'm eating in the day, what I'm doing, like to do with am I playing a lot after eating food, things like that. So it's a bit curious. I got well within a month. So after my intermediate, second year, when I tried MSET and I couldn't, I tried, but my dad said that maybe you were interested at one point too, and you felt better, so go and work under this Ayurvedic doctor. So I got curious to see, why he asked me those food questions, and I went and worked for him for all that summer. I think not after inter, maybe after 10th class or so. Then, that's how I worked for him, and then I was intrigued by the Nadi Pariksha, churans, everything. I used to sit there and pack and help him as an intern, and then how I ended up in Ayurveda. That's my connection. It's a big story, but
And see, today you are like, healing people's lives, and how amazing and how magical is this?
it is amazing, and I think Ayurveda found me. Maybe I was not born into Ayurveda, but Ayurveda wanted me to do this work. So I think I am blessed and humbled to do this, or everything that I do. It's a way of spreading that Vedic knowledge. We are just instruments,
So my next question to you is that, why do millennials need to learn about Ayurveda?
Oh wow, that is like one thing. If you look at the modern world, all we are doing is we are running around. If I want to say one thing, we are moving so fast. It's so fast-paced life that everything that we do, one expression we commonly have is, I don't have any more time. I can't fit this into my life. Or often we don't find time to take care of our bodies or ourselves, right? So that's why, as millennials, where we are running fast, we are running after a million things in this fast-paced world. Ayurveda is that connection that we need to connect to our bodies, to honor
Ourselves.
ourselves, to honor those cyclical rhythms, and to sit down and say that, okay, I'm gonna slow down today. One thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit down and eat and enjoy my meal. That is why we need Ayurveda. Ayurveda need us to fill that gap that we are finding at the moment, where we are not connected to the source of our food, where we are not connected to the source of our body, our minds and all. So I think Ayurveda can help us to go back to that basic thing of developing that connection within ourselves and with the nature. So I think that's why we need Ayurveda now more than ever.
Yes. And it just makes sense because all the things that you talked about, for example, when someone feels bloated, all the solutions you gave me, they were like, do not talk while you're eating, feel the food, be conscious. So all those were aligning towards just being connected to ourselves. And now what you said, it just makes sense because in this fast-paced world, we are running, right? But Ayurveda is helping us to be connected with our own cells, our own body. And we as an individual are one, like we have so many cells inside our body, and we have to take care of each one of it, I would say. And Ayurveda is really helping us to maintain that connection, be healthier, be happier, not just physically but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and all these elements.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I think, so like it is about developing that connection, awareness, and Ayurveda is helping us to be more present with our life, right? We are not present with our life. Either we are thinking about past and staying in the past, or we are running for future. Right now, this is what we are doing as millennials or modern people, as we say. So Ayurveda is that tool, that amazing wisdom that can help us to stay, oh, come on, slow down, enjoy the present at the moment, enjoy that food you have on the plate, forget about the meeting after 1 hour. So that is why Ayurveda makes so much sense right now to me.
Also, Dr. Lakshmi, give me one last message for all the people who are listening to us right now, who might feel overwhelmed with the solutions you gave them, who might feel, okay, this is too much, I do not know if I can do this. So what would be your message to them?
I would say that one thing I would say that Ayurveda is not telling us, or I am not telling you that whatever you heard from today's conversation, tomorrow you have to go and change everything. Life is not that simple, okay? You have to take one thing. Let's say that you're gonna eat food without talking. Let's say that simple thing. Try that for 1 week. See if it actually makes a difference for you. And I am sure 300% it is going to make a huge difference in your gut health. Then you come back to another practice. So it is taking step by step, but being consistent. And remember, at the end of the day, you're doing this for yourself. You're doing this to have a better health, for a healthier version of you. So who will take care of you other than yourself, right? So I would say, that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi, and thank you for helping us to be healthier. And thank you for addressing the question, I feel bloated, but kya karu? I feel we have the answer to it now. Thank you for all the wisdom you shared, and thank you for doing what you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shweta, for having me, and thank you so much for being a brand which is very amazing, very positive, and also doing all the good work that Ayurveda needs. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your kind words.